Hello learners, good to see you in this video on the topic knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description, which comes under the course Fundamentals of Philosophy, Unit 2, title Nature and Kinds of Knowledge, Knowledge by Acquaintance and Knowledge by Description. This unit will be covered in one video. Today, we will talk about the detailed discussion of the Unit 2 titled Nature and Kinds of Knowledge, Knowledge by Acquaintance and Knowledge by Description. The objectives of this study is to understand the nature of knowledge, define and explain what constitutes knowledge, to analyze the types of knowledge, examine the distinction between knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description as outlined by Bertrand Russell, to explain the relationship with related concepts, identify and discuss the similarities between these types of knowledge and related epistemological ideas. And another objective is to distinguish between knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description. Highlight the key differences, including their features, scope, and significance in the process of knowing. This unit explores two types of knowledge, knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description, a distinction formalized by Bertrand Russell. This idea emerged as a response to George Berkeley's idealism, which argues that external objects only exist as ideas in our minds, created by God. Russell rejects this view, emphasizing that we can know things beyond what is directly in our minds, while epistemology, the study of knowledge, asks questions like, what does it mean to say I know? How do we acquire knowledge? Knowledge involves a relationship between the knower subject and the known object. Philosophy also examines whether reality exists independently of the mind or depends on it, which is realism or idealism. In Western philosophy, this distinction was given a definite form by Bertrand Russell. Actually, this classification arises as a critical reaction to the theory of idealism propounded by George Berkeley. There are different classifications of knowledge as specified by different philosophers trying to analyze the nature and types of knowledge in philosophy. Epistemology, being the most significant branch of philosophy, is always concerned with such analysis of the nature and classification of knowledge. What way we may know something and what sort of knowledge we may have from that. What does the expression I know stands for? These are some of the issues that epistemology deals with. While analyzing the nature of knowledge, we see that knowledge is a relation between the knower and the known, the subject and the object. The knower is the subject who knows, and the known is the object intended to be known. Philosophy is concerned with the problem of the known or with the nature of the object of knowledge, otherwise called reality. It seeks to answer whether reality for its existence is dependent on the knowing mind or it exists independently. As reply to this problem, there occur two basic theories of reality called realism and idealism. Russell's division of knowledge is a development of his criticism leveled against the idealism of Berkeley. Berkeley's idealism denies the existence of the external objects and reduces them to the ideas of the finite minds that perceive them. He claims that the so-called external objects are sensations produced in the finite minds by God according to some fixed laws. It is therefore called subjective idealism or mentalism. According to Russell, Berkeley's argument is substantially wrong when he says that whatever we apprehend must be in our mind. There cannot be any reason to maintain that whatever does not have any practical importance for us are not valid. It has to be admitted that everything real which are of theoretical importance may be of equal significance for us. According to Russell, it is false that we cannot know that anything exists which we do not know. Knowledge does not mean only to have direct experience of something. It is quite wider in scope. The word know may be used as having two meanings according to Russell. In the first sense, the word know may stand for our knowledge of the things otherwise called the knowledge by acquaintance. In the second sense, it may refer to the sense which is applicable to our beliefs or convictions. In this sense of the word, we know that something is the case. This type of knowledge is called the knowledge of truth. This is called knowledge by description by Russell. Knowledge by acquaintance refers to direct, immediate knowledge that doesn't involve reference or interpretation. It is acquired through sense experience, that is, colors, sounds, smells, or introspection, awareness of one's own thoughts, feelings, and desires. Russell explains sense data the most basic form of acquaintance. For example, seeing a color or hearing a sound, however, it only applies to present experiences. Memory allows us to recall past experiences as vividly as present ones. Introspection, knowledge of our mental states like feelings or desires. Universals, we can also become acquainted with general ideas derived from particular instances. Thus, knowledge by acquaintance is free from all sorts of inference and interpretation. It is the process to get direct knowledge by our sense experience. Knowledge by acquaintance, as Russell defines, is the covers of presentation. It is the direct and infallible apprehension of some sort of object. All knowledge, be it of things or truth, start from the knowledge by acquaintance as foundation. Even every knowledge of universal also starts from the particular things of acquaintance. Here we can get some details of the things with which we may have direct acquaintance. According to Russell, sense data are the most significant things that we are acquainted with. These are the most striking and direct examples of knowledge by acquaintance. But sense data supplies us knowledge of those things that are present to our senses now. Knowledge in this sense becomes restricted as the past cannot be known this way. Russell then moves forward explaining that beyond sense data, the first thing that we may be acquainted with is memory. Whatever was present to our senses in the past gets stored as memory. And even being past events, we experience these memories as immediate as present experiences whenever we remember them. This immediate knowledge by memory is the source of all our knowledge concerning the past. The second kind of acquaintance is acquaintance by introspection. This is the kind of self-consciousness that we experience while getting acquainted with our feelings, desires, thoughts, etc. This kind of acquaintance is called self-consciousness that helps us to know our mental states. Thus, Russell holds that as a whole, knowledge by acquaintance covers up our acquaintance in sensation with the sense data provided by our outer sense. The data provided by the inner sense through introspection, like feelings, thoughts, and desires, and further, our acquaintance with the past experiences through memory. Furthermore, apart from our acquaintance with the particular sense data, we also have acquaintance with the universals of general ideas constructed through the particulars. However, our knowing process is not limited to this kind of direct acquaintance alone. Beyond this, there is another kind of knowledge that Russell emphasizes on. According to Russell, the words with which we refer to things we are not acquainted with can be defined or explained in terms of those connected with objects of acquaintance. However, Russell prefers to explain as understanding rather than knowledge. Russell's version of theory of acquaintance presents him as an empiricist philosopher. Russell's principle of acquaintance is every proposition which we can understand must be composed wholly of constituents with which we are acquainted. According to Russell, knowledge by description is indirect knowledge, involving interpretation or judgments. For example, knowing about the Great Wall of China through someone else's description. Even if you have never seen it yourself, this type of knowledge relies on language, words, and descriptions convey meanings tied to direct experiences. Inferences, judgments about things we haven't experienced directly. Understanding others helps us infer the mental states of others, like their emotions or feelings, which we cannot directly experience. While acquaintance provides the foundation, description allows us to extend knowledge beyond direct experience. Even being acquaintance is the basis of almost all knowledge. Knowledge by description is significant as it helps us to know and help others know a particular thing with description related to the thing as its name, characters, significance, etc. It helps us to have some truths about something which we have never directly experienced, but known it through the judgments made by others about it. For example, I have never seen the Great Wall of China, but I truly believe that it exists. This knowledge I have got from the words of other people who have acquaintance with it. This is having a true judgment or knowledge by description without acquaintance. When one explains something using words, they carry some meaning whenever used. These meanings are again attached to these words through acquaintances or direct experiences. Further, the chief importance of knowledge by description is that it allows us to move beyond our private experiences and imagine and explain the mental states of others. There is no way to directly experience the mental state of others and way we experience our own feelings, emotions, etc. However, it can be inferred through knowledge by description when it is conveyed through language. This is possible because knowledge by description is basically a judgmental knowledge that gets expressed in words. Thus, Russell presents these two stages of knowledge as having equal significance, sharing interdependent relation between knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description. Russell's division of knowledge is to be understood as extension of his empiricist ideals expressed in the form of knowledge by acquaintance as the foundation of our true knowledge. Knowledge by description takes place as the second stage in this process. In the following, we discuss the relation between these two types of knowledge as specified by Bertrand Russell. Number 1, knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description are not two totally different types of knowledge, but can be termed as two stages of knowledge. The first is acquaintance with the sense data, and the second is the knowledge of something with names, characters, etc. Secondly, knowledge by acquaintance is the direct knowledge of sense data, and knowledge by description, being indirect, involves the element of inference in it. It is not direct knowledge, but understanding something in reference to the data we are already acquainted with. It is not present in one's experience, but propositional kind of knowledge. Hence, it is different from knowledge by acquaintance. Thirdly, knowledge by acquaintance is the direct and infallible apprehension of some sort of object that exists, whereas the object of knowledge by description need not necessarily exist. It may fail to exist in some case. While knowledge by acquaintance, being direct knowledge, does not depend on any other knowledge. Knowledge by description depends on acquaintance. According to Russell, the fundamental principle in the analysis of propositions containing descriptions is this: every proposition which we can understand must be composed wholly of constituents with which we are acquainted. Hence, any reference to a particular must involve some reference to a particular with which we are acquainted. All knowledge concerning knowledge by description is reducible to knowledge concerning acquaintance. Fifthly, the most significant feature of knowledge by description is that it allows one to know the mental states of others. The feelings and emotions of other person can be inferred through knowledge by description when it is conveyed through language, whereas knowledge by acquaintance, being direct experience of something, does not allow us to move beyond our private experiences. Thus, the key relationship between knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description is two stages of knowledge. Acquaintance is the first stage and description builds upon it. Dependency: knowledge by description relies on acquaintance but not vice versa. Direct versus indirect. Acquaintance is direct and certain. Description is indirect and involves inference. Scope: acquaintance is limited to private experiences, while description lets us understand and communicate about things beyond our personal experience. These are some of the important points expressing the similarities and differences between knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description discussed by Bertrand Russell. In this unit, we have discussed Russell's classification of knowledge in the form of knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description. Let us review the unit through the following points. Russell classifies knowledge on the basis of two basic themes: knowledge of things and knowledge of truth. This classification is his critical reply to Berkeley's subjectivism that reduces everything to ideas of the mind. Knowledge of things always proceeds with knowledge by description. Knowledge by acquaintance works as the foundation of all knowledge. Knowledge by acquaintance is direct knowledge, whereas knowledge by description is derived or inferential knowledge. Knowledge by description is propositional knowledge that may express one's beliefs and conviction, etc. Knowledge by description depends on knowledge by acquaintance as its foundation. Hence, it is said that Russell's distinction emphasizes that while knowledge by acquaintance is the foundation, knowledge by description plays an essential role in extending our understanding of the world and others. Both forms of knowledge are interrelated and equally important. Dear learners, there are some questions to check your progress of the unit that I have discussed. Multiple choice questions. There are 10 questions. Amongst them, the first one, question number 1, who formalized the distinction between knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description? And the options are George Berkeley, Immanuel Kant, Bertrand Russell, and René Descartes. Which one is correct? Question number 2, what is the foundational basis of all knowledge according to Russell? Option 1, knowledge by description. Option B, knowledge by acquaintance. Option C, subjective idealism. Option D, universal ideas. Which one is correct? Question number 3, which philosopher's idealism does Russell critique in developing his theory of knowledge? Option number A, David Hume. Option number B, George Berkeley. Option number C, John Locke. D, Friedrich Nietzsche. Question number 4, what is the key characteristic of knowledge by acquaintance? Option number A, it involves inference and interpretation. B, it is direct and infallible apprehension. C, it relies on judgments made by others. D, it applies only to objects that do not exist. Question number 5, which of the following is not an example of knowledge by acquaintance? A, sense data. B, memory of past experiences. C, introspection of thoughts and feelings. D, knowing the Great Wall of China exists. Question number 6, what is the most significant feature of knowledge by description? A, it depends entirely on sense data. B, it allows us to move beyond private experiences. C, it is entirely independent of knowledge by acquaintance. D, it requires the direct experience of an object. Question number 7, what does Russell say about propositions we can understand? A, they must be based solely on inference. B, they must involve direct experience. C, they must be composed of constituents with which we are acquainted. D, they cannot involve objects that do not exist. Question number 8, according to Russell, how do we know the mental states of others? Option A, through knowledge by acquaintance. B, through introspection. C, through knowledge by description conveyed in language. D, through sense data. Question number 9, which of the following statements best describes knowledge by description? A, it is always about objects that exist. B, it is independent of knowledge by acquaintance. C, it is propositional and involves indirect understanding. D, it relies entirely on the knower's personal experiences. Last question, question number 10. What principle does Russell emphasize about references in knowledge by description? Option A, they must always involve hypothetical entities. B, they depend on acquaintance with some particular objects. C, they require direct introspection for validation. D, they cannot refer to universals. And there are some list of books in further reading, that is Bertrand Russell's The Problem of Philosophy, Oxford University Press 1912, Bertrand Russell's Human Knowledge, Its Scope and Limits, and another one, a treatise concerning the principles of human knowledge, and a very short introduction, Russell, a very short introduction, and last one, Epistemology, the Key Thinkers. So by analyzing Russell's ideas through this video, we gain a deeper appreciation of the nature and limits of human knowledge as well as the role of perception, language, and thought in shaping our understanding of reality. Thank you.